Wave. Me on the beat too. Look, yeah. Okay. I pull up you deep on my niggas, consider it's pivotal. Trap through the app, make her clap it, don't cap it. She tapping it fast. I think that you know they be catching it.
So like, I did a vlog the other day, or the other week. I say the other day, the other week regarding exertion headaches. And I have to say, I just basically picked up the camera, I started filming about the exertion headache and my experience with exertion headaches, and I didn't quite realise or recognise how many people go through the same thing, and how many people search on YouTube but couldn't quite find the answer to basically get rid of exertion headaches, or even know what it is, or even know why it's caused. So that's what today's video is about. So we'll basically get into what is an exertion headache, and then we'll get into how to get it to fuck off. So basically an exertion headache is exactly that. It's basically almost like a migraine. Almost feels like somebody's got the top of your head and is basically like crushing it. It's a bit like a tension headache. You typically you get this in the gym when exerting force and basically holding your breath. Now you might find exertion headaches pop up in things like leg pressing, RDLs, squats, typically things that require a shit ton of bracing and for you to hold your breath. Now the exertion headache could actually last anywhere between a couple of minutes to, in my case, like 12 hours post-training, which I have to say sucked dick. But the main consensus from people who are messaging me on Instagram who came from the other vlog is, how long does it take to get rid of completely? Like, how can you stop having exertion headaches? And also what to do in that time frame, because it does take a little while to completely get rid of exertion headaches. It's not like you have exertion headaches and then all of a sudden the next day you don't. It's something that you're gonna have to work on. And don't worry, I'll teach you how. I've also trialed this with several clients who have since had exertion headaches, and we've managed to get rid of it, and it hasn't come back, which is fucking good. Because I would never, ever, I wouldn't even wish exertion headaches on my worst enemy. Maybe my worst enemy, but not my second worst enemy. So basically, how did I solve my own exertion headache? And that's quite simple. What I did is I stopped training. I just basically deloaded what I was doing. So I was training, and then basically what I did is cut my volume in half, cut my training intensity to pretty much in half. So I was running at 50% kind of training intensity, 5 to 6 reps in reserve, and I took out all braced movements. I took out RDLs, I took out squats, I took out leg presses, all of that good stuff. Even things like bent over rows, I just took out. In that week, I also had a priority for hydration, and I also had a priority for electrolytes, things like salt. So what I did is basically salt my meals, and that would in itself actually improve hydration. If you look at things like Gatorade, Lucozade, or things like this, like isotonic drinks, they're nearly always laced with increased sodium. Even things like Monster actually do actually have quite a bit of salt in it, and that's just basically why. It's just absorption, hydration. So that's the first piece of advice. It would be to take time off training. If you have an exertion headache and you continue to go to the gym doing the same thing over and over again, you are not going to dissipate this at all. It's going to last fucking for ages. Does that make sense? For ages? It lasts ages. So my advice is, if you're training, you have the exertion headache, take time off, get rid of things that are kind of bracing, kind of in a bracing pattern, are kind of like tensing the abdominal wall, and basically strip everything back. Take some, or have some reps in reserve, all that good stuff. Now, once you've had your week off and you've made sure you're hydrated, etc., etc., once you've had your week off, you can then start moving into the gym and start moving into productive work, productive training. Now, again, for the first 2 or 3 weeks, we do not want to have bracing movements. We don't necessarily want squats, RDLs, leg press. We want to ideally keep that to a minimal. Things like leg extensions, leg curls. Try to go for more isolation work and not like heavy compound work. Again, that requires no pressure to your skull, or for you just to hold your breath. After them kind of 2 or 3 weeks are done, you could then plug and play away. Do not rush this process, because if you rush this process, guess what's gonna happen? It's gonna fucking come back. So when you plug these things back in, don't then lose like the hydration, the increased awareness for electrolytes. Keep that the same. Keep kind of hydration high, keep sodium high, all that good stuff. When you plug these things back in, just be very, very careful, be very, very cautious. Now, hopefully you're safe. Hopefully the exertion headache is gone, right? Especially after 2 or 3 weeks. Technically, like, it could be even 4 weeks if you did have the deload and then basically had 3 weeks of productive training, 4 weeks off. Then, the last tip is going to be breathing, right? You got to think, if you are mouth breathing throughout a set, and we have data on this, if you're mouth breathing, you're causing quite a bit of stress and not actually getting a lot of oxygen into the system, into your bloodstream. You are in essence putting a lot of stress into your bracing kind of pattern. You're basically like depriving the blood of oxygen. So what I want you to do is have an increased awareness for nasal breathing. So I want you to, right now, I want you to basically inhale and exhale via your nose. I can nearly guarantee, like, you feel almost like refreshed. You feel like oxygen is getting into the system. I've just got finished actually reading a very, very cool book. I'll go and get it. It's this. This is a very, very good book, but it kind of goes into like nasal breathing and also like mouth breathing. The more oxygen you can push into the system while it's in a stressed state, the better, and also the less likelihood you are going to get repeat exertion headaches. So just some main takeaways from this vlog to avoid exertion headaches. Number 1 is going to be to breathe adequately. Make sure you're doing that. Make sure you're hydrated going into sessions. Electrolyte away, of course. Sodium, all meals. We could then also talk about removing kind of things that require bracing. Squats, RDLs, leg press. Taking the deload. Taking 2 or 3 weeks off whilst training very, very hard, having isolations in, running close to failure, just basically things that don't piss off your skull. Then gradually re-enter, reaffirming the tips that I gave at the start, and then you should be good to go. But basically, if you have an exertion headache and you try and push too quick, it's just gonna bite you in the ass. So hopefully that helped dissipate your kind of fatigue, headache. I made the vlog and I didn't realize how many people were actually experiencing the same thing. So I thought I would basically share my experience and how I did it, and how it's helping my clients at the minute, and then basically help you guys, because again, it does suck. So if you have an exertion headache, I pray for you. I pray that you get rid of it. And if you do get rid of it, then comment down below. And with the tips, of course, if you use the tips and it worked, then comment down below. Don't just comment down below saying I got rid of it, but I didn't do it without your help. So yeah, I guess that's the end of the vlog. Bye.